Hi, I'm Claire Tompkins, the Clutter Coach, and this is the Organize Your Life podcast. I am passionate about organizing because it makes my clients' lives so much easier, more relaxed, and with more time to spend the way they want to. In every podcast in the show, I'll lay out a simple organizing concept, and I'll tell you why it's important. I'll also include an action step at the end so you can start practicing right away. My specialty is chunking down this big topic so it's not overwhelming. That's the concept for this podcast, which is based on my first book, 52 Simple Ways to Get Organized. The book is available on my website and on Amazon. I work with clients in person in the Berkeley, California area and via email and Skype, so you don't have to be local to me. Visit the Hire tab on my website or email me at claire@cluttercoach.net. If you like the show, please rate it and review it. To do that, go to my website, cluttercoach.net, and scroll down for the show notes. Each show notes post has a link to leave a review in iTunes. I would so appreciate that. Okay, on to the podcast. Before I start today, I want to tell you about the Level 1 perk I'm offering in my Patreon campaign. What you get at this first level is my show notes. I will eventually gather these into a book at some point, so if you get this perk, you'll be compiling your own advance copy for just $1 a month. Now, the show is already underway, but I will start posting back episodes as well as the current ones, so you'll have the whole thing. If you want to check it out, go to patreon.com and search for Clutter Coach. Okay, we're on to simple way number 40, which is called Organizing is a Journey. I based the title on a quotation attributed to Ralph Waldo Emerson, but apparently there's no proof he actually wrote it. Kind of similar to last week when I mentioned a quotation supposedly from Teddy Roosevelt that was really from some other guy. But no matter. The quotation, whoever said it first, is, "Life is a journey, not a destination." It means you should pay attention to the life you're living right now and not just look toward the future. I'm bending it a little to mean that organizing isn't something you do just once and then, whee, you're organized and don't have to do it ever again. Doesn't work that way. Organizing needs to be part of your daily life if it's going to stick around. This is why those TV shows where a crew comes in and gets rid of half a family's stuff in one afternoon drive me crazy. I just wonder what those homes look like 1 year later. I would not be surprised at all if they're as cluttered as they were before. Just getting rid of things really is not the answer. So if you're putting off that organizing project because you're waiting for a big chunk of time, free time, think again. Even if you do manage to fill up 20 trash bags with unwanted stuff, you can't organize everything in a weekend. You'll probably just get burned out and discouraged and definitely not finished by Sunday night. Then you'd be left with a mess, and the thought of organizing will make you want to run the other way. Give yourself a break. Stop torturing yourself with the idea that you're going to whip your house into shape in 2 exhausting days. Try on this thought. Organizing is a journey, not a destination. The difference between people who are organized and those who aren't is the organized people do a little bit every day to maintain order. Now, that may seem unreasonable if you're confronted with rooms and rooms of clutter, but in the long run, building the habit of daily organizing will serve you better than a one-time marathon. Go ahead and start by clearing out bags full of junk. That is a great way to get some very visible progress to keep you motivated. But, and that's a big all caps but, now comes the work of figuring out what to do with what's left. Where will it go? How much of it should there be? Is your storage sufficient? How will you organize things so they're easy to find and that's a big all caps and, easy to put away again later? What will you do differently to prevent a relapse? Those are big questions. If you don't answer them, you're just shifting stuff around. You aren't changing habits and behaviors. The thing is, clutter is pretty insidious. It'll try to sneak back in, and it may succeed. If you figure out where all the clutter came from, then you are in a much better position to block it from coming back in. Pay attention to things on sale or free, things that come with other things that you will never use, things a neighbor was getting rid of, things that came from that white elephant party. That is just one example of examining more closely where the clutter comes from. Next is how to handle it. Can you resist that free stuff? Can you turn a blind eye to that 50% off sale? I'm not saying this is easy, but being honest about your own tendencies and behaviors is really important. What can you do right now? It's often good to start small. Identify one little area that tends to get cluttered regularly and spend 5 minutes organizing it. Put things away, throw things out, and reflect on what shouldn't be there and how it got there. Hey, thanks for listening. I'm Claire Tompkins, the Clutter Coach. If you like the show, I'd love it if you leave a rating and review in iTunes. You can subscribe, too, so the podcast will be ready and waiting for you to listen to. You'll find the show notes on my blog at www.cluttercoach.net, and you can check out my store to find books I've written and a whole bunch of other stuff. If you're a fan of the show, you can become a patron on patreon.com for as little as $1 a month. You can find my page by going to the Patreon website, that's Patreon, and searching on Clutter Coach. I'll still post the podcast free of charge, but I've got some cool rewards for folks who want to help me make the show even better. Come back next week for a new podcast.